The sky over Manhattan was heavy with gray clouds the day Lena Whitmore disappeared. The 23-year-old daughter of tech billionaire Grant Whitmore had just finished a charity gala in Brooklyn, an event organized under her own foundation to support mental health awareness among underprivileged youth. Cameras had captured her leaving in her signature white Mercedes, smiling, waving, radiating the same warmth that made her one of the most beloved public figures despite her elite upbringing. But she never made it home. By midnight, the city was in a frenzy. News channels ran breaking updates every hour. Police helicopters scanned the skies. Her father offered a $10 million reward within hours. And somewhere in the forgotten corners of the city, Lena sat tied to a chair in a dim, abandoned warehouse in Queens, tears drying on her cheeks. Across from her stood a man whose face was rough, lined with hardship and anger. His name was Ehsan Malik, a 37-year-old former mechanic whose life had been reduced to fragments, jobless, homeless, and heartbroken. He wasn't a hardened criminal. He wasn't after money. And even he wasn't entirely sure why he had done it. All he knew was pain. His daughter, Noura, had died 6 months ago, after suffering a mental breakdown and being turned away from 3 private hospitals because she had no insurance, no money, and no name. Ehsan had begged, pleaded, but the system had failed him. The same system that held people like Lena Whitmore on pedestals while pushing people like Noura into the dirt. So, when he saw Lena's name on the posters of yet another charity gala, he snapped. "She talks about mental health like it's a ribbon you wear," he muttered to himself. "But she'll never know what it's like to bury your child because no one cared enough to help." But now, standing there in front of her, something began to shift. Lena wasn't crying anymore. She was looking at him. Really looking. "Your daughter's name was Noura?" she asked gently, as if she had known her. "How do you know that?" he barked. "There's a picture in your wallet," she said quietly. "It fell when you stepped back earlier. I saw it." He froze. "You don't have to do this," she said, her voice trembling but sincere. "I'm not your enemy." "You are everything wrong with the world," he hissed. "You have no idea what pain looks like." But Lena didn't flinch. "I do. I know what loss feels like. My mom died when I was 11. My dad buried himself in work, and I grew up with nannies and tutors, not love. And when I tried to connect with him, he only gave me foundations, events, cameras. I'm not perfect. But I'm trying. I really am." There was silence between them, thick and uncomfortable. "I wanted to die too," she added, barely above a whisper. "I tried once." Ehsan stared at her, confused. "I was 16, she continued, "and I felt like no one saw me. I had everything, but I felt invisible. Broken. Empty." He didn't know what to say. It wasn't supposed to be like this. She wasn't supposed to be human. For the next 2 days, Ehsan didn't hurt her. He didn't ask for ransom. He just talked. They talked. She listened to his story, how he had migrated to the US for a better life. How he lost his wife to cancer and then his daughter to a broken healthcare system. How every time he asked for help, he was told he didn't qualify. How no one cared, until he took someone the world did care about. And somehow, in that broken warehouse, 2 shattered people connected. Not through violence. But through pain. And humanity. On the 3rd morning, Lena woke up to find the ropes gone. Ehsan was sitting on a crate, holding the picture of his daughter. "I'm sorry," he said, tears streaming down his face. "You didn't deserve this. I lost myself." Lena sat beside him. "You didn't kidnap me," she said softly. "You brought me here because no one would listen. I'm listening now." He turned to her. "You think people will forgive me?" She nodded. "They will, if they know your heart." Later that day, Ehsan drove her to the police station and turned himself in. But not before Lena hugged him and promised she would tell his story. Not as a crime, but as a cry for help. What followed stunned the world. At the press conference, Lena refused to use words like kidnapped or criminal. Instead, she told the world about Ehsan Malik, the father who had been failed by every system meant to protect him. The man who held her captive, yes, but who also saved her by reminding her what compassion really meant. Her speech went viral. We talk about kindness. We wear ribbons. But we don't listen. Ehsan's story is not rare. It's just rarely told. Let's build a world where no father has to lose a daughter because he's poor. Let's build a world where we care. The internet exploded with support. Hashtags like #JusticeForNoura and #LenaListens trended for days. A petition to release Ehsan garnered over 3 million signatures in 48 hours. The district attorney, under pressure, agreed to a reduced sentence and court-mandated therapy and community work instead of prison time. But that wasn't the end. Lena dissolved her foundation and started a new one, Noura's Voice, with Ehsan as its first board member. Together, they toured schools, communities, hospitals, sharing stories, raising funds, fighting for better healthcare and access to mental services. Ehsan, once seen as a threat, became a symbol of brokenness turned beautiful. And Lena? She finally stepped out of her father's shadow, not with cameras, not with speeches, but with compassion. Years later, a documentary about their story won an Emmy. In the final scene, Ehsan stands on a stage beside Lena, holding a framed photo of Noura, his voice cracking as he says, "I thought I had lost everything. But I found a daughter in the most unexpected place." And the world wept.